Let's bring in our panel. Former Republican Governor of Maryland, Bob Ehrlich. Rodale Molyneux, former spokesman for Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, who's now president of American Bridge 21st Century, a super PAC, and Molly Ball, national political reporter with The Atlantic. A great panel. Governor, I got to start with you.
Yes, we are.
Yes, you are indeed. This past weekend, you have Bill Kristol, George Will saying, Mitt Romney, get those tax returns out there. Obviously getting hammered for it. The late-night comedians, we're still talking about it today. He's got to get rid of these tax returns out there, doesn't he not? Go back a few more, 5, 10, 15?
What's the number? What will feed the beast?
What's wrong with 5 or 10?
It seems to be if it's 2, if it's 4, then it's 5. If it's 8, it's 10. If it's 10, it's 15. It's all noise and it's all nothing, quite frankly, because this is all about the president not having to talk about the jobs report. It's all about the president not having to talk about the state of the economy. And it's summertime. People are at the beach, baseball games, and all that. And this is what we do, I guess.
So you don't think it resonates with the electorate?
I just think it's not that big a deal. I think if...
You think it's feeding the media beast going back and forth?
Of course it is. Of course, all this parenthetical stuff, and I know we're going to be talking about Hillary Clinton's ads against President Obama in the past. It's all noise. It's not about generally what people want to talk. On both sides, by the way.
Rodale, are you seeing inroads in terms of people you serve that this is working?
I think so. I think this is only going to get worse for Governor Romney, because the longer that this goes on, the more I think people are going to think that he has something to hide. And whether it's 5 years, whether it's 10 years, it has to be more than 2 years. And I think that the drumbeat is only going to grow larger. And when you're getting it from people in your own party, then you have a problem.
Molly, you obviously cover both of these campaigns. It seems that the Obama campaign is not going to slow this down at all. Mitt Romney desperately trying to change the narrative. How long do you think this can go on?
Well, I think the governor's right that this is not going to end. He can't put it to rest necessarily by just releasing some arbitrary number of tax returns, because if he were to do that, then the Democrats would just be talking about what's in the tax returns. It's really a no-win situation for Romney. They're already, they've got ads insinuating about what might be in there. We've talked about what's in the tax returns that he did release, and there's a lot of attacks based on that. So this is the downside of running for office when you're as wealthy as Mitt Romney is and have as creative accountants as he appears to.
How about this? We say, you know what? He's got some bucks. He's been really successful. He has a lot of money. Let's go talk about
this. Does this not open the door? Does this not open the door?
I think you said that, actually.
But does this not open the door for him to take the lead on tax reform? Essentially, he would come out and say,
yeah,
look,
absolutely.
You know what? I made a lot of money. I paid taxes. I'll be at a lower rate. It was all legal. Here are the loopholes. I want to close them. Why not do that?
I think you'll see that, actually, in the fall campaign. I do see that, because I know we're going to talk about the budget here, but I think flattening the tax code, getting rid of some preferences, which will in fact generate more revenue. I'm just saying that there's a lot of congressional Republicans and Democrats who will sign off on this. It's one thing. It's really one issue, one area the parties today can agree on. And I'd like to see it happen.
Listen, I think the problem is that if you probably get into these tax returns, there are going to be some years where he paid little to no taxes. And it's going to be hard to explain to the American people that I have this much money, yet my tax rate was effectively lower than yours. So I think that's where...
Let's talk about someone who is popped up in a Mitt Romney ad. We all know the famous clip from the 2008 campaign, Hillary Clinton saying, "Shame on you, Barack Obama," about that intense attacks that went in that primary race. Hillary Clinton said this about herself appearing in a Mitt Romney ad.
I think it's a waste of money. Everybody knows I ran against President Obama in 2008. That's hardly news. Everybody knows we ran a hard-fought campaign, and he won, and I have been honored to serve as his Secretary of State.
Molly, interesting play by the Romney campaign to try and paint Hillary against Obama. We all know how spirited that was 4 years ago. Does it resonate?
Well, I think it's really interesting, too. She's a very popular figure on the one hand. She may be the most popular member of the administration if you look at the approval ratings across the cabinet. On the other hand, I think she's right. People know that this is from 4 years ago. People know that she's not out there criticizing him today and that they have had a very effective partnership. We don't even hear behind the scenes that there's trouble in paradise there. Given that what Romney's message is mostly about is that people feel let down by the president, I don't know if something from 4 years ago saying he was already that bad is as effective as someone saying now that they once believed in him, but now they don't. So I wonder if that'll really...
Do you think does this stir up Democratic divisions in a sense, or independent divisions sort of saying, oh, Hillary Clinton doesn't like Obama in this respect? I mean, obviously it's from 4 years ago, but is that a point of this ad?
One, I think no. Two, listen, when Mitt Romney was making mincemeat of every single one of his primary opponents, the JV league there, during the primaries, he didn't have a problem going on the attack against Perry, against Gingrich, against Santorum. And guess what now? Now you're in the NFL. These are the big leagues, and you have a president who has a vision and is going to also, go on the offensive, and to sit there and now to whine and to say that, my record's being this or that or whatever, listen, I think Rahm Emanuel said it well. Stop whining and let's start talking about the issues.
Hillary, fair?
It's a limited point. It's setting the predicate. It's the great uniter, the great bipartisan president is the great divider. That's been his message from day one, maybe the most divisive president we've ever seen. And he'll say and do just about anything for power. But I do agree that it's hardball, it's the big leagues. You take your hits and you go on. People don't like whining, and I just think this little we're having a little fun with it, but it does set a little predicate for what this president is out there doing now, which is clearly dividing the country.
Can I just say, listen, you can't look at this in a vacuum. It's not as though this campaign started the day that Mitt Romney won the nomination. You had a Republican Congress, leaders in the Republican Party that have actively been campaigning against this president for over 3 years, questioning everything from his economic policies to his religion to whether or not he's a citizen. And now we're actually at a point where you've got, a standard bearer, which is Mitt Romney, and Barack Obama, and President Obama is going after Mitt Romney, I think justifiably. But to sit there and say that this has only been over the last few months or whatever, this has been going on for 3 years. I think there were times when Democrats wish that President Obama was probably a little bit more forceful in going after the Republican Congress, and he wasn't.
It's about failed stimulus, failed economy, lack of jobs, the disaster known as Obamacare. That's what this election's about.
And we'll have plenty more to talk about when we get back. But